Yo, guys, good morning. Good morning. Hope you have your coffee. You're listening to the Execute Regardless podcast, and I am the host, Callum Roche. Little reminder, shameless plug, this podcast is powered by Winners Win, the number one company in the world dedicated to winning, that exists for one reason, to help people discover what's possible at 100%. And we're on a mission to prove there is no secret. And as part of that mission, we're here on this podcast, fucking running it up. And today I have something special. So I hope you have your coffee. I said I want you guys to have coffee with me this morning. So I've got my one. I hope you have yours. As per usual, I drink double espresso. Let me know what you drink. I hope it's not like lattes and shit. Right? I won't say the word, but don't be drinking lattes. They're a 3-letter word. That's all I'll say. They're a 3-letter word. But anyways, I want to talk about something special today. I want to talk about something that is more valuable than money. Something that's more valuable than money. Something that is more magnetic than money. That you can use. You can almost weaponize this to get what you want out of life. And I mean that. By the end of this, you will know that this is more important than money. If you leverage this, as I said, you can weaponize it to get whatever you want, okay? Because what you want at the end of the day, the point you're at in your life right now, point A, and getting to point B, you are not going to do that alone. That is going to involve other people. You need to get other people to buy into what you're doing, whether this be in a business, whether this be in your career, whether this be a relationship, whether this be your kids, okay? You're going to need this. You're going to need this for all walks of life. And I believe it is multiple times more powerful than money. Not just more powerful, but probably 100 times more powerful. I'm actually of the belief that the people who are the most successful in the world, and from my observations, this is what they leverage. Okay, this is what they leverage. And I want to talk to you about that today. I want to make sure that we don't go off topic, so I have my iPad because I want to deliver as much as possible in the amount of time that we have. Okay, now, to date, since I discovered this, which we'll talk about in a moment, since I discovered this, I have actually been able to go from having no money, okay, so you don't actually need money to have this. You don't need money. This is actually more powerful, and you don't need money. More than likely, you already have it. So that's the beautiful thing about this. And I was able to use what we're going to talk about today to reassert power and essentially increase influence to start getting the things I want out of life. Okay, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, it wasn't always like that for me. I didn't always believe that this was the be-all or end-all. In fact, this wasn't even on my radar of things that I needed to leverage, okay? Sorry, if you get like a moment pause, that's just because I'm taking a sip of coffee if you're listening on Spotify. If you're watching the video, great. But let's go back, and I always love to give you context to how I discovered it, because you may be in a similar situation, or, you know, who knows. But in order for you to realize the importance of this, I got to bring you back. So it wasn't always like that for me. I didn't see this as valuable as money. In fact, money was the be all or end all in my life as I went into adulthood. Obviously, you know, it's the one thing that when you're making a choice leaving school, when you're going to college, you're looking up salaries. Most of your decisions when you're leaving school and heading into adulthood are about money. And I think we would all be lying if we said that we didn't want money. Okay, anyone who says they don't want money, I think they're lying, first of all. This isn't a podcast to negate the importance of money. Money is very important, and it allows you to have, the more money you have, the more decisions you can make, the more control you have. So yes, money is super important, but this is actually more valuable. And this, you know, if you're in the business game, this can actually help you make more money. In fact, I believe this is the only way, if you want to create vast amount of wealth, this is what I believe you need to leverage. But for me, it wasn't always like that. As I said, money was the be all or end all in terms of the most valuable currency. And I saw money as the vehicle to get everything I want out of life. That's what it was. I saw money as a vehicle to get what I wanted out of life. And what did I want out of life? Well, if you've listened to this podcast enough, I wanted to be able to travel the world. I wanted to have power, which power being defined as the ability to act, control, or influence. I wanted to have control over my life. And I wanted to be able to have the autonomy to make decisions for myself and just kind of live life on my terms, to control the trajectory, be healthy and leave a legacy, right? So that was my goal in a nutshell. Now, the problem was I had very little of it. I had very little money. So I came from a family where nobody had ever started a business before. Social welfare was a normal thing. I had a normal education. My dad was a taxi driver. My mom, sorry, I thought I had my AirPods in my ear. I went to take it out. My mom, she used to deliver papers actually, and then obviously run the household. And yeah, typical working class. If we never missed a day of school, our parents put the fear of God into us in a good way, and they never knocked our beliefs. But we weren't well off, but they always done their best. And in my teenage years, leaving school, going into adulthood, I was trying to figure out how I was going to gain this power, and I was fully of the belief that money was going to change my life. So what I used to do was, just to give you quick context, I used to look up the highest paying salaries, and I kind of had two plans. My goal was to either go up through a company, so go up through the ranks and become a CEO. That way I would make a shit ton of money and I would have the autonomy over my life. Or I was going to start a business, but I had no fucking clue how to start the business. And I always thought that you needed money to make money, which I now know you don't. You just need this one thing that we're going to talk about. Now, being in this situation, I wasn't certain. I felt like I lacked something. Because growing up without it, it was like I had this belief that it wasn't possible, but I wanted to believe it was. And I was on this search. You should know by now, if you're an avid listener to the podcast, I went on a journey from the age of 17, probably 16, to the age of 23 or 24, I'm not sure, looking for the secret to make money in business. I was looking for the hack. You guys know this by now. And I couldn't find it. It was never found. In fact, sorry, I'm just getting some coffee. I was never able to find the secret. And it wasn't until I was at a very low point in my life. I lost the apartment. Chloe had came in and gave me an ultimatum because I was now a shell. At this point in my life, I'd wasted all my money. I spent about 80,000 euro on self-education. If you don't know that by now, that's one of my greatest achievements and one of my top accolades. Yes, I spent 80,000 on self-education and never made much back. Plenty of failed businesses, and my life had basically went to shit in a nutshell, without recapping the story all the time. And it was only when I was rebuilding, and this time around I had to make money, right? I had to make money to survive. Like, this was like legit. I had no income. So I met a buddy of mine. I'm not going to say who it is, but very, very internet famous person who recently rose to global notoriety. And it wasn't until I was at a very low point in my life, this old friend of mine, he gave me a text one day and he said, "Hey, bro, I want you to come to this event. I want you to meet some people who I know. I think it'll be very beneficial for you. I know you're trying to make money. I want you to come to it." Now, the only problem was I had no fucking money. And these events aren't cheap. These events are not cheap. The ticket price on this was 6,000. And I had no money. I was living in Chloe's parents' house. And since the last time I'd seen this guy, I presumed he expected I'd be a lot further on than where I was, because this guy was, when I first met him, I think he had 70 grand to his name. By the time he gave me this text, he was worth multi-millions. In fact, he was worth about 30, 40 million. And he texted me, he said, bro, you need to come to this. And I was like, I don't have 5 or 6 grand. I don't have the money for any of this. I don't have the money to get there, and so on. And Chloe knew, I have goosebumps as I say this, but Chloe knew that this guy was the real deal. Going here would probably would propel me in the right direction. And by being around this network of multi-millionaires, I would definitely be able to get direction as to where I wanted to go. So it wasn't about finding information. It was just more so getting clarity on where I wanted to go. So I didn't know what I was going to say to this guy. And long story short, Chloe came home one afternoon. I was wondering, what the fuck am I going to do? Do I just face it, be embarrassed, tell him I can't go? And she says to me, Callum, I'm going to loan you the money. She says, I'm going to loan you the money. She said, what you can do is, I'll get 10 grand. She said, take out a loan. You go. When you come back, you can take out a loan or do whatever. You can pay me back. Right? And I was like, good, because they wouldn't even give me a loan. So I was like, holy fuck. Right? And that's the beautiful thing about this girl. Like, she always placed bets on me. Like, she always placed a bet on me. She always had faith that I would make it. I love that about her. She was with me through everything. And just to add on that note, people say, people are self-made. No, I'm telling you now, there's no such thing as self-made. I think not unless you solely went at it alone, which you hear very rarely people doing that. No way. And even, I don't even want to claim that I'm self-made, because life is ongoing. But I am made by the people who have bet on me. And then back that with hard fucking work. But to continue, got a loan and I was able to go to the event. So I flew over to this event, and essentially at this time, what my goal was to figure out the direction that I wanted to head in to make money and turn my life around. Okay? Sorry, I'm just getting a coffee. So went to the event. And there was one guy in particular, actually. I'll give you his first name. His name's Rob. There's one guy in particular who I was talking with. We're sitting up in his apartment, in his villa. We're talking about business. He's telling me he makes a shit ton of money, like 50 million a year, right? And we're talking. And I'm telling him about the potential idea that I want to run with. I tell him that I don't want to be a fucking shill. I don't want to just create a quick product and run up a quick bag. I said, I'm looking for something, to go all in on. Didn't know what it was at the time. Didn't even have the idea of winners win. And we're talking about a specific idea. And he said to me, I'll never forget it. He said to me, Callum, he said, it took me 12 months to make my first 100 grand from the internet. He said, it took me 12 months to make my first 100 grand. He said, what you've just said to me, knowing what you know now, he said, honestly, I reckon you could do it within 6 months. He said, and I'm kind of wondering, what the fuck's this guy talking about? I'm like, 100 grand in 6 months? How am I going to make 100 grand in 6 months? I haven't made money predictably ever. It's always been sporadic. And we're talking back and forth about my idea. And he says, Callum, he said, I'm fucking telling you. He said, what I did in 12 months, he said, me talking to you, knowing everything you know now, he said, I reckon you could do it in 6 months. He said, what we'll do is, this was in like, let's say October. He said to me, by May, he said, let's do a deal. He said, you make 100 grand. He said, and if you do that by May, he said, I'll fly you to where I live and we'll go play a game of golf. And I was like, holy shit, man, this is insane. Right? Now, the interesting point about this is something hit me. Something hit me at this very moment. I remember sitting there in this villa, this guy looking me, and I got to give you context to the situation. This guy looking me like a fucking laser in the eye. He says to me, you can make 100 grand in the next 6 months, I'm telling you. So I'm like, holy fuck, man, this is insane. And this guy's like, show me how much money he's made. How much money he's made, 50 million. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I leave and I'm like, holy shit, I'm going back to Ireland. I'm like, I owe Chloe money. I'm like, I have no concern in my mind about paying her off. That was my concern when I initially went over. I was like, if I don't fucking come back with some sort of direction, if I don't have a way to pay her back, she's gonna fucking leave me. I'm just thinking worst case scenario. I left this apartment with a new found perspective on making money, and I realized something. You want to know what I realized? I'll tell you what I realized. I realized after speaking to Rob, it wasn't about the knowledge. It wasn't about the information. It wasn't about the product. I realized that what Rob saw in me, and this is the key part here, you got to write this down. I realized that what Rob saw in me was the fucking energy. I realized what Rob saw in me was the fucking 100% energy, okay? Because we'd ran it up for a few days again. I had no business at the time. I was rebuilding, so I didn't really have much to talk about. So I just had to be myself and just kind of come clean to everybody. I was like, listen, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. I'm just trying to figure it out. And people actually liked me. It's crazy. People were actually magnetic toward me because I was so myself. I was just operating on 100% FM, as I call it right now. I was just me. And what I realized was my energy was attracting people. My energy was almost giving people faith in my ability. Regardless of what that ability was, it was the energy. It was like, I fucking like this guy, Callum. You know what? I like that guy. I want to be around him more, bro. Whatever it is you have, I want to buy more of it. Let me tell you something. This was actually where the idea for Winners Win was first seeded. It was first seeded around here because I had just figured out all this health stuff that I tell you guys about. And I had people say to me when I was talking about, my body and the whole transformation and all this type of stuff and all these epiphanies I had and all the research I'd been doing, they were like, bro, I'll fucking pay you. Bro, I'll pay you fucking 10 grand. I'll give you fucking 5 grand. Hey, bro, I'll give you 20 grand. Legit. I had people offer me 15, 20,000 at this event just being myself. Right? And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even have a business at the time. Winners Win didn't even exist. I didn't know what I could sell these people. They were like, bro, you know what? I'll fucking pay you just based off who you are. Just based off your energy, bro. I fuck with you. Right? And this dawned on me when he said it to me that evening. He said to me, Callum, he said, you could make a shit ton of money. You can make a shit ton of money. Right? And we didn't even have a product. So I left the apartment that night and I was thinking to myself, I was like, holy fuck. I was like, all I got to do is put something together, lean more into who I am. That's when it started dawning on me about this Winners Win. There is no secret. Building a game plan, put yourself in a position to win and execute regardless. And I realized, fuck, I'm really good at this, putting myself in the best position to win. I can help a lot of people get to 100% because that's what I'm really good at. People are vibing with my energy. I'm like, holy shit, maybe this is what I'll do. So at the time I didn't feel like I knew what I wanted to sell, what I wanted to bring to market. In fact, this was just the infant stage of the idea. This was just the infant stage of winners win, when I was trying to, first of all, put my finger on the core ideology, which is the purpose. I had no clue about the mission. I didn't know what the non-negotiables were. In fact, I didn't even know how I would deliver a service. But when I went home, I had to make money. So I channeled this advice into what I already had, which was a lot of marketing information. I had a lot of skill in marketing. As I said, I'd spent 80 grand up to this point learning marketing, so I knew it inside out. And that was when, over the course of the next 12 to 14 months, I built Outsource CMO, and that was when I made my first 100,000 online in marketing consulting fees. Okay, and it's crazy. Rob said that I could do it in 6 months. Okay, took me a little bit longer, 12 to 14, but I'd done it predictably. Okay, just being myself, realizing that there was no secret, that it was my energy. It was me being me being authentic, me being relatable, me showing people in advance, right? Me proving that I could actually help people. How? By actually helping them. As I said, you've listened to this podcast many times before. Rather than trying to convince them on my services, I would go in, I'd give them the 100% energy. I'd say to them, hey, listen, I don't want your money. I wouldn't invest money in my services, right? Just being 100% with people, keeping it real. I said, I wouldn't give me 2.5 grand a month. You know what? Let me do this first for free for 7 days. Show you that this works, right? Human to human, just being real, just being 100%. Let's do this for free for 7 days. And then once I prove that I can make you 25, 30 grand a month through these lead generation services or through this marketing consulting, well, if I could make you 25, 30 grand, would you mind paying me 2.5 grand? Does that sound like a good deal? Of course that sounds like a good fucking deal, right? And I realized just the power of leaning into myself, which was 100% energy. I was always putting that out. Right? Sorry, I'm just looking at my iPad here. I want to make sure that I stay on par. So to continue, built Outsource CMO, but at the time, as I was building Outsource CMO and everything was great, the amount of people asked me not only how I was doing this, but they were asking about how to get to 100%. Bro, I want to do this shit that you're talking about. Stack the odds. How do I do it? And this stuff was really fascinating me. And what I realized was in Ireland, right? I built Outsource CMO in Ireland, as well as in with a couple of clients in Miami and a couple of clients in the Northeast. But they're very, here in Ireland, we have 19 countries listening in, but here in Ireland, the mindset in business is not very progressive. They're not risk takers. They don't want to grow. We would send them so much business and they would want to hit the brakes. Whereas, my ideal client was someone who would say, hey, Callum, we can't get enough. The biggest reason why we didn't retain clients for a long time is because they'd actually say, you know what, we're good. We don't need any more because we're not willing to hire more staff. And that really fucking pissed me off. And I found that the American clients were more aggressive on that side of things. But as I said to you, the way we built Outsource CMO, I'm not going to lie, was me face to face, me giving them 100% energy. And to go back to the main point here, what was it that Rob gave me? What was it that I gave these business owners that allowed me to change my life, that changed my financial status, that changed my health status, that changed everything in my life to date? And what was it about Rob that had me so sold? Well, there's two things. The first thing is I realized that energy is the most valuable currency on the planet. Energy is more valuable than money. Energy is by far the most valuable currency on this planet. Let's look at the definition of currency first of all. So what is the definition of currency when we look at it? Let's break this down. Currency is just an exchange of value. And if we look at this, okay, we can exchange paper money, fiat currency, okay? It's printed every day, right? If we look at the global system, in fact, 97% of the money in circulation around the planet is not even fucking real. It's not even real. Only 3% of it is hard assets, okay? It's actually real. 97% of it is debt. So let's ask yourself, the thing that you've been told is so valuable that you spend most of your time working toward, that people have made you believe, that the system has made you believe is super valuable. 97% of it isn't real. So what that means is, if you go down to the bank now, if we all went down together and we said, hey, I want to withdraw all the money, that's why you wouldn't be able to. That's why they wouldn't allow it, because it's not real. But yet you've been led to believe that money, fiat currency, is the most valuable, when really it's not. Let me tell you what is. Energy is the most valuable currency out of the lot. Energy is 100 times more valuable than paper money. And I'll tell you why. I went to that event thinking that $5,000, right? $5,000 was a shit ton of money, right? I was wondering how I was going to fucking pay Chloe back, right? $5,000 was a shit ton of money. And I was looking for information. I'll tell you, when I came back from that event, not only did I know that I could make my first $100,000, but I knew that I could go on to make millions, right? I knew that I could go on to make millions. And the second thing, sorry, I want to make sure that we don't go off track here. Not only did I know when I came back I could make $100,000, I could go on and make millions, all right? Which, I'm not a millionaire now, by the way. Disclaimer, I'm not saying here that I'm a millionaire. I'm just saying we're on path, and that's what I'm going to get. I'm going to get what's mine, okay? As I said, within the next 6 years, my goal is to have a valuation, and this is just an internal thing, by the way, to give you context. This company will be valued at minimum 100 million. And the interesting thing about it is, I'll never sell it. It's not that I'm building it to 100 million to sell it. It's to actually prove to myself that I could fucking do it, right? So that's the first thing about that. So don't think, oh, this is all about the money. But on that note, you've been led to believe that money is the most valuable currency. I can tell you this for a fact. When I came back from that event, not only did I know where I was headed, but since then, right, I can tell you safely, I do not remember one piece of information. There wasn't some golden fucking nugget at that event that was shown to me on a slideshow that I remember right now. I can tell you right now, I do not fucking remember any of the stuff that the presenters at these high-level events spoke about. You know what I did remember? You know what I do want the most that I got at that event? Was the fucking energy that Rob gave me, right? That he was able to fucking rub off on me. And here's the thing about energy. Energy is infectious. Energy is infectious. That's why you have to protect it, right? And for years, I've been putting out 100% energy, but I'd also been letting in fucking half-ass energy, right? And that was when I realized the importance of not only putting out 100% energy, but protecting what you let in. And I'll tell you how fucking valuable energy is. It got to the point where these events, they went on once, twice per year. Not only as I started making more money, I started making investments into energy, okay? I went to the next event then, after I repaid Chloe, when the company was making more money. I invested 10,000 just to go to another event to get more fucking energy, to top up the deposits, right? To keep that fucking 100% energy alive, right? Invested 10,000, right? Same again, 15,000. Why? Not for new information. I knew at this point there was no fucking secret. I was the variable. But you know what the most important variable is when you realize that? Is making sure that you operate at 100%, right? And I'm telling you, energy is fucking infectious. Now, I want to tell you about the second thing on that note. I'm just getting a drink. Now, second thing on that note that I realized. The second thing on that note that I realized was that you need to become a depository of hope. Now, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does a depository of hope mean? Let me tell you what a depository of hope. I give this quote many times, but there's a quote in Proverbs: where there is no vision, the people will perish. Where there is no vision, the people will perish. People are actively looking to deposit their hope somewhere. And this ties into energy. If you're operating at 100% energy, people will place hope in you. People will place hope in your ability to do the job. People will place hope in your ability to build a business, to lead the way. Or people will follow you. Okay? People will not follow. Right? Think about this. People will not follow you if you're operating at 70, if you're operating at 80, if you're operating at 95%. People will not follow you. People will not deposit the one of the most valuable things inside of them, which is hope. Nobody's gonna deposit hope in someone who's only 90% sure. You know where they fucking deposit hope? They deposit hope in people who are 100%. They deposit hope in people who are 100%, and that's why you need to become. That's why you need to operate at 100% frequency. That's why you need to switch on to 100% FM, because energy is the most valuable currency, all right? And what happens is, this is how you can, I don't want to say weaponize it, that's a terrible word, but this is how you can leverage energy to get what you want, right? Because everything you want is in the hands of other people. And people, we're led to believe that it's all about money, but I'm telling you, energy is infectious. This is way more powerful than money. People will deposit their hope in people who are 100%, okay? Winners are certain, losers are confident. Remember that. Now, if you're going around at fucking 95%, you're going into a business deal, you're at 95%, you're going into your job, you're going into anything at 95%, that's not enough for someone to make a deposit, right? So that's why you need to fucking get to 100, and you also need to protect and make sure that nothing less than 100 comes in. And what you want to do is you want to become a walking advertisement. You want to be a walking advertisement of where people can deposit that, right? And that means actually doing this consciously. You have to fucking wake up in the morning. I'm telling you, there's days where you wake up where you're like, you know what, everything's going to shit. You know, whether that be, I don't know, there's so many reasons why your day could be going to shit. I'm not going to sit here and list them out. But you could wake up one day and you say, you know what, I'm not fucking feeling it today. That is when you need to realize, and this is super important, you need to realize that if you choose to go about that day, and think about this, if you choose to go about that day at 70%, at 80%, at anything less than 100%, ask yourself now, are people gonna fucking buy into what you are doing? Would you buy into anything less than 100%? Would you buy into 80%? So what gives, I want to make sure I phrase this right, what makes you think that by you going out and giving 75% that people are going to buy into you? What's so fucking different about you? Nothing. 100% is the price. You need to become a walking depository of hope for people to fucking deposit that into you. Okay? The bank or whatever the fuck your name is who's listening, right? I appreciate the fuck out of you. But you need to become a walking depository of hope. And that's the way you need to view whatever situation you're in right now. And you need to consciously, even on the bad days, you need to consciously make a decision that I am going to operate and put out 100% today, regardless of what's fucked at me. All right? Because that's the only thing that people have certainty in. You need to maintain that during the scariest times, when everything is going to shit, right? When the world is falling down around you, you need to maintain that. Even when you're scared fucking shitless. Even when you're scared shitless. The amount of times in my life, right, when I didn't know how the fuck I was going to get out of a situation. I didn't realize the way out, right? I didn't know if I had a solution. But you know what? You put a fucking smile on your face, right? You maintain certainty at all costs, and you keep it 100%. Because remember, during hard times, when people are looking to place their hopes somewhere, okay, the leaders, the biggest people in the world, they don't have it all figured out. They're not always certain. But the one thing that they do is maintain that certainty at all costs. Okay? So does that make sense? Everything you want is controlled by energy. Excuse me, I'm just getting some sparkling water. Okay? Energy is the most infectious currency. Energy is more fucking valuable than money. And I'm telling you The one big takeaway you need to remember from this is ask yourself, would you place hope in somebody who operates at 90%? Fuck no. I wouldn't. I wouldn't fucking place my hope. I wouldn't deposit this internal, this valuable thing inside of me, right? That I'm reluctant to fucking place anywhere. I wouldn't put that into somebody who wasn't 100%. And that's what Rob was for me. Rob was a place where I could deposit my hope. I went home and my life done a full fucking 180. I don't want to say 360 because 360 would just bring me back around. But my life took a 180 turn, right? By someone who was at 100%. They gave me a place to a place to put my hope in, which went on to change my life. And I realized that I had this energy all along, but I was led to believe that money was the most valuable currency. Money is fucking by far. Money is by far not the most valuable currency. I'm telling you, and I think the people at the top in any industry, they know this. And that's why you got to protect it. It's infectious. It's definitely by far my most valuable asset, right? The way I roll, I'm telling you, the way I roll every day, if you're not operating at 100%, it's good luck. I've had to fucking kick people out of Winners Insider. I've had to kick people out of our programs. If you're operating at 90%, 95%, 99%, it's good luck. It's 100% and nothing less. That's the price. That's the price that you have to fucking pay, right? And I don't do anything less than 100. Fuck that, right? Fuck half-assing. Nothing good comes from that. And the closing thought that I want you to keep in mind on this is that ask yourself what's at stake here. By choosing to wake up tomorrow and not give 100%, not operate at 100%, walk around with your fucking chest out, head up, smile on your face, let's fucking go. By choosing not to do that, right? Nobody's going to fucking buy into you. And you know what happens when people don't buy into you? Whatever it is that you're working on, right? Whether it's that business you're building, whether it's that fucking career you're trying to grow, right? Whatever it is for you, that's what's at stake. That's what's not going to happen, because I can tell you now, 95, 99, 99.9% is not the fucking price. Nobody gives a fuck about that price, right? Everyone wants to place hope in people who are 100%. And you got to maintain it during the fucking scariest times. It is what it is. Energy's infectious. Let's fucking go. So listen, I hope this was... Hope. I don't like that fucking word. But anyways. We've been going for, I think, about 39 minutes now. Appreciate the fuck out of you. Leave a rating on the podcast. Me and the world help get this message in front of others. If you're fucking serious about this mission, if you're serious, if you know there's no secret, if you know that you are the variable, you know that more is possible at 100% and you're getting value from this, do the fucking favor, man, and help further this mission. Help me. This isn't about me. This isn't about you. This is about proving to the fucking world, to the people who are going to continue looking out the fucking window, thinking there's some sort of fucking answers out there. Right? By not getting this message out further, that they're going to continue just the way I did, spending money, wasting fucking thousands, getting fucking scammed when they could be listening to this shit, waking the fuck up. Alright? So hit the rating button, share the fuck out of this if you're down with the mission, right? Winners win. Keep it 100%, nothing less. And anyone who brings that half-ass energy, steamroll them. Right? Steamroll whoever the fuck gets in your way. Anyone who gets in the way, who's bringing half-ass energy into your fucking life, you have fucking permission to steamroll them. Fuck half-ass energy. Fuck 99%. It's 100% and nothing less. Let's fucking go.